What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. It is December 1st, and it is a Thursday. Going to have a great show today. Have a lot to talk about. I know Jay's excited about the stuff he's hearing about the Houston Astros. But I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Jay McLevin. How's it going, Jay?
Hey, it's good. Electric's paid, cables paid, rent's paid, and blew away all of his dinner. I don't know how much more you want in life, man. I mean, it's the basics, just the basic stuff, Gonzo. Just trying to be a productive citizen, staying out of everybody's way. Doing good things, man.
Hey, man, it's the little things. It's the little things in life, all right?
It's always the little things, Gonzo. It's always the little things. But, hey, honestly, it's been a great day, man. Look, a lot of things are going on. I finally located Foxborough Frankie. I was worried about him. He checked in. He's ready to go for the night. I asked where Frankie the Yankee was. He said he's out there, with Hal and Brian Cashman talking some baseball. So maybe you might want to talk about keeping Benintendi. He said he's not worried about Benintendi. I said, well, maybe I look at getting Trey Turner. They're looking to sign that big contract out there in Philly. And them Yankees, unless you really believe Ian Khalifa is the answer, you may want to look at Trey Turner. But, hey, it is what it is. What a time to be alive, man. What a time.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk some baseball. But first, I want to lead off with something that we touched on a little bit yesterday about the Jerry Jones picture.
Yeah.
Now you have LeBron James coming out. Why did I get asked questions about Jerry Jones' picture?
Yeah.
Who the hell does LeBron James thinks he is? He thinks he's God or something? Why the hell do we have to ask him about the Jerry Jones picture?
Yeah, I always say misery loves company. You ever heard that saying, misery loves company? And again, man, look. What Kyrie supported, nobody endorses. Jerry Jones, 14-year-old, happens to be in the damn back of a picture, going to school. Endorses. And again, there is a lot of damn difference between a young 14-year-old kid and a grown-ass Kyrie freaking Irving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you please tell me a 14-year-old that was so mature about the ways of the world that didn't screw up and make a mistake and didn't know the damn and then you got Kyrie out there just, hey, I support a book that talks about anti-Semitism and hate speech. And then on top of that, I'm not going to apologize for it. And then on top of that, when I do apologize, I'm going to do it super late at night so I don't have to see everybody know about it until the next day. What a time to be
alive. He said, why? James wanted to know, had he not been asked about a photograph that was recently surfaced, because your opinion isn't the gospel. I mean, everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem in the world is people think their opinion is a fact instead of an opinion. You know what I mean? Everybody has opinions. We can disagree and still get along. Me and you ain't gonna see eye to eye on everything, but we still don't have to hate each other. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the big problems in the world is if you live in a world where you can't disagree, then you're not living in a free society no more. And I think that's something that the world in the United States we're missing is that, hey, it's all right to disagree with each other, but that don't mean you have to hate each other.
And another thing I want to point out to you, if I may, when Jerry was asked about the photo, Jerry didn't deny anything. He said, look, I was 14. I was there. I was curious. A photo was taken, and it is what it is. It is what it is. And I understand at the time, I didn't understand what that moment truly meant. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. At the end of the day, though, he acknowledged that what was going on in front of him was wrong. He acknowledged the fact that he was there. I don't think anybody's going to go out. I don't think Jerry's going to go out there and spew out no damn hate speech, or he's going to go out there and endorse some hate speech. But when he asked Kyrie Irving knew damn good well there was a Holocaust. But yeah, he wanted to play stupid about it. Again, I always encourage Kyrie Irving to go to Auschwitz. I always encourage Kyrie Irving to go to Dachau and go sit in that chamber and tell me that persecuting Jews is a good thing, or endorsing a book that persecutes Jews is a good thing. And then Kyrie Irving going to say, well, I'm not an anti-Semitite. Damn it, I'm black. And blacks are Jewish. We got Jewish lineage. So how can I be an anti-Semite if I'm black? Well, let me ask you this. Did you support a book that was filled with hate speech? Whether you're whether you're Jewish or not, does that make it okay that that gives you a free pass to hate speech endorsement? I don't know. I'm just asking a question.
And another thing real quick before we move on and get back to more sports stuff is we need to get out of this thought that if somebody makes one mistake that they need to be canceled, they shouldn't have a life, they shouldn't have this. There ain't one person in this world that hasn't made a mistake. I don't care who you are. I've made mistakes. I know Jay's made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
I make about 30 mistakes every damn day.
But
I have to go for Jesus so much every day that my knee pads are worn out. So don't tell me about mistake making.
You know what I mean? It's about learning from your mistakes and growing. But now we're in a society that people look for a mistake and then they want to try to cancel that person and want to take away people's livelihoods and stuff for I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand. Even with Kyrie, yeah, he made a mistake. He served his punishment. Now he's back playing in the NBA.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, if LeBron James wants to bring up Jerry, okay, look, can I ask you a question, man? Does the law hold a minor? Because last time I checked, a 14-year-old is a minor. You got a person that's a freaking minor, and you got a person that's a freaking grown-ass adult. Come on, man. You can't. The mind of a 14-year-old cannot be possibly the same as the mind of a freaking grown-ass man.
No, I agree.
I don't know about you, but at 14, I was a complete screw up at making great decisions.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Come on now. Come on. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
Oh yeah. No, I agree 100% because I know. I made plenty of mistakes when I was a minor.
I saw, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a rumor that two guys over in that same crowd was Bill Clinton. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, I don't know, but I'm just saying I have seen more than one report that says in that photo, Bill was in the photo, but he was a couple over to the left.
It very well could be because
they went to the same damn schools.
I was gonna say because Bill's from Arkansas as well, right?
He's from Little Rock.
That's what I thought. But
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, man. Come on.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know, man. I just think I think the world. I don't know. We're too quick to try to bury people. I don't know. I don't know what switched, but it seems like over the last few years, something switched where it's all about trying to bury people, and we need to get out of that.
I think you have to hold people accountable, but you also have to look at the circumstances that are going on as to, at what level of accountability do you issue the person? And if I'm talking a 14-year-old that's still living under mama and dad's roof, what do you want me to do, man? Because I'll tell you right now, I can go to any high school around here and pick out any 14-year-old that's really screwed up and is cyber bullying somebody or just doing something incredibly stupid, because that's what 14-year-olds do. They do incredibly stupid stuff, and then they learn from it, and they grow from it, and they become better freaking human beings. That's part of life, growing up. Learn, making mistakes young, learn from the mistakes, and grow up as people. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do anyway. Real quick, speaking of bad decision making, oh my God, have you seen? I just saw this yesterday, and it's on Twitter. But AB is back in the news, folks. With some more violent tendencies.
Hey, great minds think alike, because that was the next thing I was getting ready to talk about.
Hey, look, me and you, we've been podcasting enough together that I can read you and you can read me. Man. Ebony's and ivories.
He has AB has an active warrant that states Brown is wanted on a battery charge stemming from an incident on November 28th. On November 29th, a judge denied a petition for a temporary risk protection order to prevent him from possessing firearms or ammunition if he was considered a threat to himself or others. Man, what's going on with Antonio Brown?
I don't know, man. The more I think about it, the more that CTE crap may be true. I don't know. I mean, the guy's out there in Dubai showing his wanger to females. He comes home, he's got an active warrant for gun possessions and all this. I don't know, man. Hey, look, I go back to the letter that Tom, or the text message that Tom wrote to AB. Bruh, when I had you over there in New England, you were a completely different individual than what you are now. And the guy you are now, I don't even recognize. That's what Tom tells AB. Look, when Tom is throwing in the towel on AB, I think it's time to throw the towel in on AB. I mean, I don't know how many chances or what more this man can do. I got to be honest with you. At some point, do we start having them put in for mental evaluation? And I'm not even being silly. I'm being serious. Does this man need to be mentally evaluated for, something that medically could be wrong with him?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm serious too. The man needs help. I'm like you. I'm not trying to be funny or anything. He needs help. I don't know. It could be if it's CTE or what it is. The dude needs help because, for one, I think he's surrounding himself with the wrong people. For one, but for two, if you're having, I don't care who you are. If you're having mental issues, you need help. Go get help. There isn't nothing wrong with saying I need help. And I think that's a stigma we need to get past. That you don't need to be ashamed, or don't make you less of a man because you need some help.
Right. And again, I mean, you just got to think this many crazy decisions that doesn't, logically make sense. I mean, people don't just do these kinds of things. It's not a normal, rational thing to do. I mean, this is the same guy that not too many years back was on Shark Tank. I just saw it last night. He's on Shark Tank endorsing some product for this kid in front of Mark Cuban and such. And he's acting like a normal kind of guy. And I'm thinking, like, how did we go from Shark Tank and you're pitching or helping pitching this guy's product and then being good friends out there in New England with Tom and doing great things out there, in Pittsburgh with no issues whatsoever. And then the minute that Pittsburgh lets you go, I don't know, man. You just kind of go into this weird spiral thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
Wasn't even on Dancing with the Stars? I think. Wait, wasn't Antonio Brown even on Dancing with the Stars?
I'm not sure. He might have.
I might be wrong with the Dancing with the Stars, but what I'm saying is he's been doing some things, constructively that would make you think that he's this isn't the Antonio Brown I'm seeing now. It's not the Antonio Brown I saw a few years ago. I mean, like, this dude is completely off the grid.
No, this dude was one of the best receivers in the league. He was on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Left Pittsburgh, went to the Raiders, and then you show all everything that happened with the Raiders. He wouldn't get on the field, had a helmet issue, all this stuff. Then he celebrated when the Raiders let him go, and then you get in New England with Brady. You think that's going to work, and then that fell apart. And then Brady even sticks his neck out for him again and gets him at Tampa. And then
Brady stuck his neck out for him more than just coming to Tampa. Even while he was at Tampa doing all that crazy crap, Brady was still sticking his neck out.
Let him stay at his house and everything. So I don't know.
Brady did a lot for him. And, I hope there's a point in time where they can really take Antonio in, get him figured out, get him, if you got to figure out a medication or a treatment plan, whatever it is, you need to do. They need to bring him in. He really needs to be medically, when I say medically, he needs to be psychologically evaluated to really, figure out, what can we do for Antonio to get Antonio back to where Antonio was prior to everything within the last 2 years happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, this guy has really, really, I mean, you can see it. You can see the man is not the same Antonio as he was prior.
No,
I mean,
no.
it's definitely left.
And the bad thing is, I don't think he'll. I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again. Who knows if he probably won't get in the Hall of Fame now either with all this stuff.
Right.
I mean, he just took such a drastic turn. And like I said, I just would like to see the guy get some help and get his life back on track. And I'm not even talking about playing football again. Just get your life back on track.
Yeah, I mean, bro, when you're on a like he's arrested in Tampa on a battery charge. I mean, damn, like Antonio, like what the F? First you're out there showing your penis, now you're out there on battery charges. I mean, I don't even know what kind. I guess a battery. What would that be considered? A second degree felony, maybe? I don't know if it's first. Well, he had a gun, right? So I don't know. I don't know how that. I mean, again, I don't have all the factuals on it, but battery's got to be at the very least a second degree fel, or even maybe a first degree fel. Depends on, I guess, it's got to be at least a few years in imprisonment. If obviously, if you're found guilty, and then probably whatever that time you would get, if it's 2 to 5 years, they most likely, and I mean, unless you just get that judge that just has a hardcore or whatever, it could probably be reduced down to probation time. But
well, I think this time, because he already got on his last charges, he got 2 years of probation with good behavior. It was terminated after 1 year. I don't know if he'll get probation this time.
Yeah, I don't know if they give him I know the first time offender typically would get probation on something like that, and then
this time he might have to do some time. I mean, they've already gave him probation and all that stuff before, and you keep having these run-ins like this. Eventually, you get habitual offender, and you get locked up for a little while.
Right, and I got to be honest with you, man.
I hate to say it, but it might be the best thing for him.
The sad thing about it is it probably is the best thing for him. But the crazy thing about that too is, Antonio's still young, man. He still has, if he wasn't so jacked up mentally, I still believe he has the physical attributes, to be a contributing factor on a Super Bowl run. I mean, seriously. Like, if he wasn't so jacked up, I wouldn't mind if the Cowboys brought him in, because I think he could do great things for the Cowboys, just like hopefully what OBJ was going to do for the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can still be he still commands that certain level of respect. And I think he still has football at a high level in him. It's just his head is getting in the way of, what he could be doing. And it's not even I don't think it's his fault. I think there literally is physically something in his head that is propelling him to do these things. That's why I say he needs to be psychologically evaluated. So that way, if there is something psychological, if it can be fixed through meds, therapy, or whatever, that could, number one, restore his life back. Hell with football. It could restore his life back. And then if he needs money to continue his, his life, then he could do, 2 or 3 years NFL, make that little bit of money and still be, living well and productive. And Antonio probably even has money even now. I'm not saying the man's broke. He may not even be broke. He may have all kinds of money. I don't know his financial status is, but
yeah.
Either way, maybe he doesn't have to play football anymore. Maybe he could just get his head right and live right, or live like healthy. I guess.
Yeah, that's the most important thing is get right and be able to live a productive, good life, and then
right.
Then if you get to that point, then worry about football and other stuff like that. But we did have some big news break last night. The last obstacle for the college football playoffs to expand in 2024 and 2025 season has been cleared. They have reached an agreement with the Rose Bowl, and now it's on schedule. College football will be expanded to 12 team playoffs starting in the 24-25 season. So that means we have one more season. We have the rest of this season, the next season of the 4-team format. Then it's going to go to a 12-team format. I know me and you've talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, we have.
I'd have rather seen them with 8 teams to start with. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Again, I feel like, look, Gonzo, man, unless you're just the kind of football person that wants to sit through some meaningless, garbage, watered down games, then yeah, make it 12. If you want to see competitive football or teams that actually, legitimately deserve something, then keep it at 8. Keep it at 8. Truthfully, I think it should be 6. I think it'd be 6. The reason why I say 6 is quite honestly, anything below the ranking of 1 through 6, truthfully, has either a 3-loss record or a 2-loss record or hasn't played anybody. And I think it's just kind of watered down. I think 6 to me is perfect. But I know college wants money, right? It's all a money-driven thing. So, they figure probably, hey, look, we give you 12 games of competitive or not competitive, but we give you 12 playoff teams. And that's all this money we're going to generate. And I get that. It's a money generational thing. But if you want to see good football, or if you care to just see good football, then at a maximum, I would keep it at 8. And at a minimum, I would keep it at 6.
Yeah. I thought 8 would have been a better format. The way they're going to do it is the first round will start on December 21st. And the top 4 teams will get a bye. So then the 12th seed will play the 5th seed, 11 plays 6, 10 plays 7, and so on. 8 plays 9. And then, it works out the bracket. Only thing, I don't know. I think 8 would have been better. But let me ask you this question, because this is something I was thinking about last night. With the NIL, where now you're starting to see a little bit more parity in college football, because you see some players going to schools maybe they wouldn't have went to before, because now they can still make money and play. Do you think that it might help some of these schools that they can pitch to these kids? Hey, we have you can come play here and still have a chance to get into the tournament. Do you think that might help some of the recruiting and maybe help some of these teams get better and be more competitive and more parity in college football?
I mean, again, it's all money driven. So if you put 12, if you opened it up to 12 playoff teams, then of course, take for example, hypothetically, take Tulane. Tulane be like, yo, look, I know we're going to finish top 12. Maybe you should come, we'll give you some NIL money, top 12. You got, you're going to bring in some players because, okay, as I go to Tulane, I got a pretty good shot. Number one, at some NIL money. And number two, I got a shot at, a playoff appearance. So, yeah, schools like Tulane or, maybe a UCLA or, anybody down in that area, maybe a Cincinnati Bearcats or at this point, I hate to say it, but right now Texas is down around 20. If Texas get up back up to 12, there's definitely some smaller school teams though, right? U of H, A&M, not A&M, because A&M they should be higher than what they are right now.
Even like a Penn State in the Big Ten or a
UCF.
Yep.
I think UCF is ranked like number 18 or maybe even a little higher than that right now. Yeah. So, I think UCF is probably a really good example. So now you look at UCF and you'd be like, man, I can go right there to little UCF, probably pay half the tuition, still be in a playoff. Well, I would have to pay tuition because they'll give me a scholarship. But what I'm saying, I go to UCF, it's a smaller campus, whatever, smaller classrooms. I can probably get my education. If I really care about my education, I probably get, a pretty good education there. And, again, man, you're getting championship exposure. So not a bad idea.
Have a chance to play on the national stage.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's be honest, some of them athletes, they may want to go to a smaller university because, well, at least the ones that care about their academics, when they go to a smaller university, because they'll probably get more intimate contact with their professors in terms of smaller classrooms or smaller class number. So, yeah, man, there's definitely some benefits there. I brought your boy in. It's weird, man. Every time I see a photo of Stat Guy on Facebook, I swear to God, 20 minutes later, I usually get a text message saying, hey, Jay, man, I want on the show. Let's go, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, man, that was an awesome profile pic of the family out there. Is that out there in Florida? Was that Disney World out there in Florida?
Si, senor.
If you sent me a message, sorry, I hadn't seen it yet.
No, I saw Jay send the message originally that he was going to hop on in 10 minutes, so I thought he was running it, so that's why I texted Jay.
Oh no, that's cool, man. How you doing?
Hey,
I
listen,
haven't
we
talked to
always
you for
bring
a while.
Stat Guy in, man. You know
Oh boy. I leave 85 degrees and I return to 21 and windy. That was fun.
It's
Hey,
20
hey,
yeah.
hey! I don't want to hear that crying. Okay, there's no crying in the freaking north. Okay?
Hey Jay, wait a minute, Jay. What's the temperature where you're at?
Hey, listen, don't matter what temperature where I'm at, okay? It's
Hey,
nice and sunny and it's warm. I'm smart. I moved to the warm climates, okay? But I will tell you
It's
this,
27.
Gonzo, and I have pictures. One of these, I'm gonna find
27.
that picture. Hold on, I got pictures. Listen, I want you to understand something now. I did live in Wisconsin for 4 years on the lake. And let me tell you something. I have pictures where I'm in shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops because I'm an idiot. And I was shoveling snow, and they looked at me like I was crazy, but I said, what? Why y'all such pussies, man? It's just a little snow.
Yeah, it was 20. It's 27 here.
Hey, it's just a little snow. Come on.
It's 27 here today, but we're lucky it's not windy today like it was yesterday. So it's not.
Hey,
It
listen,
really don't feel too
I
bad
said
out.
it once, and I'll say it again. Dustin, hey, I know you're from the Wisconsin area. So you know exactly where the town of Sheboygan is located, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So if you go down on 4th Avenue all the way until it hits the water, my house was the corner house on the left that literally was probably about 20 yards off the water. And when that lake effect come in and the snow is up to your window sills and you're looking at the wife doing paper, scissors, rocks to see who's going to go through the window to snow shovel you out. Yeah.
Hey, Stat Guy, we were talking about the college football playoffs going to be expanded to 12 teams since they got the last obstacle cleared last night with the Rose Bowl. What do you think about the going to 12 teams in 24-25?
This year is a prime example as to why they need to expand it. I don't necessarily think they need to expand it to 12. I think 8 would be the ideal number. Because even with the way Ohio State lost to Michigan on Saturday, you can't sit here and tell me that Ohio State's not one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Hey, look, watch this. Are they one of the 4 best teams in the country? Yes. Are they going to win a championship? No, because their defense.
No, I don't think they'd win a championship, but they're still one of the 4 best teams.
I agree. My thing is I said, look, they went 12 teams, and really to Gonzo's point is if you're that 12 team like a UCF or
that's why they're doing it.
Number 12, then it probably does good for your recruitment to say, hey, look, I know we're a small university, but we're in the playoffs. So I guess it looks good from a recruiting standpoint for some of the smaller schools to help generate revenue, things like that. So I get the 12-man or 12-team concept, but I just think 12 teams is watered down. I think 8 is kind of even watered down, but I think 6 teams, in my opinion, is perfect because I think that's where your most competitive football is. But if you want to go 8, I'm okay with going 8 too, right? I mean, I'm okay with going 8. But usually when you get to number 8, that's the one team that's probably lost like 3 games, probably haven't played nobody, and now you want to put them in the I don't know, whatever.
The only reason why I think 8 is the perfect number is you can look at the Ohio State-Michigan situation. You can look at like an Alabama and Tennessee situation for that matter, where let's just say Michigan loses the first game of the year because they play a team like Alabama, and then they win out the rest of the season. And all of a sudden, Ohio State starts the year 11-0, loses that last game of the year against Michigan. They're out of the college football playoff because they're not playing in the Big Ten championship game.
So maybe if you have 8 teams, the ones that are losing some of those conference championship games could then be in the playoffs. And again, if you look at somebody like down in the ACC or the MAC or some lesser conference that even if you win your damn conference, you have no rights to ever see the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that puts that team into the playoffs. So
yeah, like 12. I think by going to 12 teams, it's giving. Like Cincinnati is still the only non-Power 5 conference team to ever make the college football playoff, which they did last year when they lost to Georgia. I think expanding to 12 teams is giving not necessarily every non-Power 5 conference, because realistically the Mountain West, the MAC, the Sun Belt, and I'm forgetting the other one. Whoever the other one is. In Conference USA, they're not going to usually have a team that's sitting up in the top 12 versus the American Conference. The American Conference with like Cincinnati, UCF, Houston and some of those teams. I think expanding to 12 teams gives that conference a little bit of an opportunity.
Well, Houston is going up to, I believe, the Big 12 next year when Texas and Oklahoma carry over to the SEC. So Houston's actually moving up in the game.
And you have USC and UCLA going to the Big 10.
Yep.
That's interesting. I'm really happy for U of H, though. I'm really happy that U of H is going to a bigger conference like the Big 12. I think it's going to help their recruiting, and I think it's going to make them a more legitimate team, hopefully in the football. You know what they got in basketball and baseball, but football has always kind of been of a sore spot for Houston.
Yeah, and they have a good coach now. They have Dana Holgerson as their head coach, who was the head coach at West Virginia when West Virginia used to be one of those, I'm not going to say college football powers, but they used to be a team that was always hanging around the top 10 when Dana Holgerson was there. So Houston does have the right head coach if they want to get to that level. Now it's just a matter of, I think, getting out of the American Conference and going into the Big 12. They're going to be able to start getting a lot of the recruits that they're losing right now to like the Texas, TCUs, and Baylors, because now they're going to be in that conference with them outside of Texas.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very absolute true. And it's going to be interesting to see. Let me ask you this. Hey, TCU, man. Do you believe that they deserve to be there? Because a lot of people still think that TCU doesn't deserve to be there. And then the same thing with USC. I've heard a few things about USC. But do you think that TCU does – or better yet, let me ask it to a different way. What do you think TCU's legit chance is to get the national title? Do they have a legit shot?
TCU deserves to be there because they're undefeated. If you're undefeated at this point in the season, regardless of what your schedule looks like, you deserve to have an opportunity to be in the college football playoff. And that's the main reason why Cincinnati got in 2 years ago, is because they were 13-0 heading into that final college playoff vote, and they ended up going from, I think, 6th to 4th to get in. So if you're undefeated this late in the season, I don't care if your conference is down. I don't care what your non-conference record looks like. There's still one of 3 unbeaten teams left in the country. They deserve to be in that spot.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people will tell you, I've heard people say that TCU's schedule wasn't that hard, but I look at their damn schedule, and from the first game to the last game, they played like 5 or 6 ranked teams all the way up to number 8 when Oklahoma State was ranked 8. So I don't know how their schedule doesn't deserve them to be where they are.
Because of 2 reasons, and you can attest to it, Jay, because you live in Big 12 country.
Yeah, I do live in Big 12 country.
Because Texas is not the Texas of old, and Oklahoma had the worst season they've had in 15 years. Those 2 games right there are why people think TCU had an easier schedule, because your typical Big 12 powers were not the Big 12 powers this year.
I don't know, but we're talking about the same Texas team that, and I think you'll agree with this, and I'm not making excuses for that, but I think this is the same Texas team that Ewers doesn't go down, and I think Ewers takes out Alabama, and they start out 1-0, and Alabama starts out 0-1.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think Texas, because of losing Ewers for those few games, kind of went into that little 2 or 3 game tailspin, which kind of really puts a damper on what their season looked like. Because had Ewers not gone down, I think Texas is the one that's playing for the Big 12 championship game.
Well, I wonder if Ewers doesn't go down and they beat Alabama. I wonder if that gives them so much, inner momentum and confidence that maybe we're looking at Texas, close to the Final Four, or at least in the top 10.
If Ewers doesn't go down and they beat Alabama, I don't know if they're in the top 4 yet, but I think they'd be number 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At the very least, they're somewhere in the 5 or 10 range. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, what a time to be alive! But you know what? Yeah. Hey, that's the way life works sometimes.
Yeah, stat guy. Let me ask you this, because you're the soccer guy out of the group. What's your thoughts?
Wait. It's true, but we don't call it soccer. We call it football.
Okay. But what's your thoughts on the World Cup so far, and what do you think United States chances are against the Netherlands?
The World Cup so far, in my opinion, has been one of the best World Cups that I can remember, mainly because you've seen the upsets that have happened. You had Saudi Arabia probably pull off the biggest upset in World Cup history when they beat Argentina that first game out. There was a guy, I think they showed it this morning actually, there was a guy that bet $150 that Argentina would lose to Saudi Arabia. Now he made $1.5 million off of that game because those were the odds that Saudi Arabia had to win that game. So the guy came out a nice millionaire by basically betting one game. You have teams like Mexico, who's always in the knockout round, get eliminated yesterday, and now they fire their manager because of it. Teams like Germany have struggled. Belgium, who's a top 5 team in the world and nationally ranked, are out of the knockout round, which is a big shock because a lot of people had Belgium competing for the World Cup championship this year. You have Brazil, who, I mean, is just crazy.
Hey, I don't mean to break in. But I got to break in. NCAA, Maisie Smith facing felony charges from Michigan. Are y'all tracking that? The defensive lineman for the Wolverines?
Yeah, Yeah, it's big. The Big Ten is turning into be the criminal 10 right now. If you look at what happened with Mickey Joseph the other day.
Yeah, he was. Hey, they got him on weapons charges. Man, come on, Smith. You're about to go. You're in the Final Four, man. What are you doing? I'm sorry. I had to say that when I saw it come across the screen. I wanted to remember it, so that's why I wanted to say
it. Just came across. It just came across my screen.
Yeah. All right. I apologize, stat guy. I didn't mean to cut you off like that, but while I was there, I had to remember to say that. But continue mission with the soccer.
Yeah, and like a lot of the teams that are typically your annual like World Cup powers, a lot of them have still made it to the knockout round, but most of them have looked very vulnerable at best. With the exception of, I think, France, who's looked the best of anybody. They're also the defending World Cup champion, so you have to kind of look at them as being the favorites again. But in terms of the United States and how their chances are against the Netherlands, I don't think they stand a shot in hell to beat the Netherlands, honestly. Frankly, they're very lucky to even be in the knockout round, and they can thank Iran for beating Wales to get them into the knockout round because U.S. scored a total of 2 goals in 3 games.
Yep.
They tied the first game 1-1. They tied England 0-0, and then they beat Iran 1-0. Yes, they played very good defensive soccer, but that's all they've done is play defensive soccer. And when you play a team like the Netherlands, you need to be able to score goals.
Would you say that the United States team has been a disappointment in this World Cup, or would you say they've done about what people thought they would?
I'm not going to say they're a disappointment because anytime you make the knockout round, you're not considered a disappointment. But I'm going to say they are uninspired, if that makes sense. They were expected to beat Iran. Okay, well, you beat Iran 1-0, and you should have probably beaten them 3 or 4-0. They tied England, which anytime you tie England in the World Cup, that's a huge confidence booster for anybody, especially the American squad. So tying England was good. But the game against Wales, I think, is what raised a lot of question marks with the American squad because this was Wales' first World Cup appearance in over 50 years.
God, has that been that long?
Yeah, this is Wales' 3rd World Cup appearance ever, their first World Cup appearance in 50 years.
Wow.
So
and not only did you
I was a baby when Wales was there and Gonzo wasn't even a thought.
And not only did you tie them 1-1, but you should have lost that game 3-1 because Wales had 2 offsides calls get called back, which would have probably been 2 goals.
Just saying.
So that game alone kind of worries a lot of people about the U.S. just because there's 2 games that the U.S. should have won. One game they did win, but the second game they basically let a team that had no business even playing with them basically outplay them for 90 minutes.
Just want to say how badass am I? I've lived long enough to see Wales the last time they were here, out of all 3 of us. But that's even neither here nor there. Nobody cares about that crap. What we care about is this. Pulisic took that pretty nasty shot against Iran, and they are expecting him to play Saturday against the Netherlands. How well do you see him playing? Because you know he's going to have to be on his A game in order to stay up with the Netherlands.
The thing with Pulisic, and everyone likes to say that he's the best American player that we have, which he is the best American player we have. He's probably the best American player we've had since Landon Donovan and Clinton Dempsey were running the show in the U.S. for a long time. But what people don't realize about him, he doesn't need to score. What makes him so good is he attracts so much attention from the other team's defense that it opens things up for Weston McKinney. It opens things up for all these other
He
scores.
was like Amari Cooper last year for Dallas when we had him, when Amari was getting double teamed, and it opened up Gallup and CD to really nice seasons.
So now now going into this, yes, Pulisic has been cleared to play, but I think a lot of teams are expecting him to kind of take it easy because of the injury. So if he's taking it easy, that's going to take less attention off of him, which in reality could actually open more things up for him to do more damage.
Absolutely. And from now on, Stat Guy, what I need you to do is when you talk soccer to me, and there may be other people out there like me, I don't think I'm the only one, but when you talk soccer to me, I need NFL comparisons so that I can understand and the gravity of the point that you're trying to make.
I can do that for you, Jay.
I'm just saying, because when you start talking, if you can relate soccer to NFL comparisons, bro, I will snap right with you. We'll be straight on accord. I'm a newbie, man. Hey, look, this whole soccer stuff, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm a newbie. I just learned how to spell Ronaldo's name last night when I was putting it in the slide, okay? If you want
NFL comparisons, this year's Belgium team is like this year's Packers team.
Oh, nice.
This year's Mexican team is like this year's Tampa Bay team.
Oh,
this year's U.S. team is similar to kind of the New York Jets and New York Giants, where people expected them to be competitive. And then you have teams like Brazil, who are like the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, who are always expected to be there.
Yeah.
Is that better?
So who is England? I was like, who is England again then?
England's going to be like the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, teams that are always expected to be in the playoffs no matter what.
Right. See, that makes, dude, when you put it like that, bro, see, now I'm with you. Now I understand it. I can relate. Just gotta relate, man. That's all. Just relate with me. Jesus. Is that wow. Thank you for playing this, hooked on phonics with me, man. I appreciate it. See, what Dustin needs to do is come up with a Soccer for Dummies book. I'll be the first one to buy that son of a bitch.
I'll be honest. I've watched more of the World Cup this year than I ever have, and I've enjoyed watching it. What I've watched, I still don't understand everything about it. Like when United States was playing Iran, and it said +9, so I thought it was going to be 9 more minutes, and it ended up being almost 10 more minutes.
Well, the +9 is essentially what they call extra time, and how that is determined is every time there's a stop, every time a goal is scored, every time there is a stoppage for a substitution, every time there's a stoppage for like a player being injured or whatever, they take all the amount of minutes that it takes for everything to reset, and that's what they add to the end of the half.
You know what? Hey, you know what really baffled me about soccer, especially when I was watching the Iran game last night, is I'm looking at the clock and the damn thing's putting time on, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Yeah. They're adding time. You should be subtracting that shit. What are we doing? 60 minutes?
Yeah, count
up these quarters.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that they add time, because it goes from 0? You start out with 0, and then when it hits 90? I think that's when the buzzer goes off, right?
90 is technically the end of the half or end of the game, but like I said, every time there's like a stoppage happening during the game, everything gets added up, so it ends up, usually most soccer games go like 95, 96.
Yeah, but they don't do like normal sports where we count down. They count up.
Yep.
Freaking weird. But yeah, it's weird. Weird shit. That's why the English play it and then the Americans stay home.
Well, that's why the Americans ran into a problem with Wales in that first game.
Look,
granted,
man,
it was 1-1.
Let me tell you something about the soccer crap. Most people in America, we don't even know where the hell Wales is. Okay, I thought Wales was England. You say Wales, and I'm thinking England. And you say Wales is a different place. Well, if Wales is a different place, that's fine. But I'm just saying, you got to understand, when you speak soccer, now I'm not going to speak for all Americans. There are some very intelligent soccer listening Americans. But there's a good majority of us out in Hickville that don't know where the hell freaking Wells is. So you might want to explain that. Because if you say Wells, I'm thinking like, where the hell's the well? We're in freaking dry dock. There ain't no damn water around here. What are we talking about?
Yep.
And that's,
yeah, against Wales, against Wales, after the Wales team tied it up at 1, there was, I think, 9 minutes of extra time added on to the game, which ended up being 14 minutes because the U.S. had a couple players get hurt in that extra time. So no matter how hard the United States tried to end the game, Wales kept getting more and more chances to win that game because more and more extra time got added on to it. That's why a lot of people say, yes, the U.S. has not played well because realistically they really haven't played well this entire World Cup, and they're very fortunate to be in the knockout round, but they still made the knockout round, and at this point, that's all you can really ask for because now you're in the knockout round. You're not in this group stage format anymore where you have to play 3 teams just to make it through. Now it's win and you advance, lose and you go home. So all it takes for the United States to advance is one bad day for the Netherlands on Saturday or one special moment for somebody on the American side on Saturday, and that could be all it takes for them to advance to the next round.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm going to talk about baseball real quick. Trey Turner's up for grabs. Excuse me. By arguably the best shortstop that's out there. You know, if you look at
no, not arguably, he is the best shortstop out there.
That's okay. Well, unarguably, whatever. Damn it! Let me ask you what. Trey Turner, you take Trey Turner, man. Is this dude going to command as much money as what Aaron Judge is looking to require?
Yes.
They're expecting Trey Turner to get somewhere north or around $300 million.
I say yes and no, if that makes sense. I say he gets roughly the same amount of money as Aaron Judge does.
Okay.
But I think he gets it over less years, so he'll be making more annually.
Which is better for him because then he'll be up for another contract, you know, at the end of all that.
Yep.
God.
Hold on. I'm switching from my phone to my computer quick, so just give me 1 second. I'm gonna sign right out and then I'll sign back in.
Okay, that's fine. Gosh. So Taylor. Hold on, we gotta get rid of that. Hey, so Taylor, or excuse me, did you see? I just seen where Hall of Fame pitcher Gaylord Perry, which was a spitball master, died at 84.
Yep.
God, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I thought he died like 10 years ago. But
Pele's in the hospital.
Pele's been in and out of the hospital for like the last decade.
How old is Pele again? He's up there too. What is he's got to be his 80s or 90s?
He's 82, if I remember right.
He's what now?
I think 82.
Yeah.
I wonder if Pele will make it to 90.
Yeah, Pele's 82. There's no way he's going to make it to 90. That guy's been in and out of the hospital.
Is it wrong to bet on how long somebody will live? Is that wrong? Is that like bad etiquette?
No, because people thought he was going to die 5 years ago. Because of I think he's got a colon cancer, or I know he's got some form of cancer. I can't remember what kind of cancer it is, but he had a bunch of swelling over his heart after his chemotherapy wasn't working, which is why he just ended up in the hospital now. So the guy's been dealing with cancer for well over a decade, and a lot of people thought he was going to die, like I said, 5 years ago when he was having complications from chemo, and yet he battled through that. So, I mean, is it wrong to bet on somebody's life? Yeah, but at the same time, probably not, since he's probably beaten a lot of what people expected him to beat at this point.
Honestly, with everything they let you bet on all these betting apps, I'm surprised you can't bet on somebody's life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, hey, look, I'm sure you can bet on a lot of things. Question though, man, like where do you rank Pele, man? Like, where do you rank Pele and all the soccer legends? He's
the greatest soccer player ever. There's no, I mean, Ronaldo and Messi can make a case that they're the best soccer players of our generation, which without question, you add David Beckham into that mix too. Those are probably the 3 best soccer players of our generation.
but Pele played in 1,363 games, which is a Guinness Book of World Records for the most soccer games ever played. And the guy scored 1,279 goals.
To me, Pele's the best because I've never really followed soccer, but I've always known who Pele was.
And with the 1,279 goals that Pele has scored, Messi and Ronaldo combined barely reached 1,300.
And there's a kick named after him as well. So,
and there's a soccer store in Disney World named after him called Pele Soccer.
Let me ask you this about Ronaldo. Do you think he goes to Saudi?
Does he have a choice?
Yeah.
Right.
He already said it. Okay, well, first off, he said he's going to wait until after the World Cup to make the decision. But he also said that there are teams in the Europe area that, are going to make a push for him as well. So I don't know that he's fully there yet. But again, 300 mil, 360 mil, whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how England or whoever's out there is going to match that. I mean, that's crazy, especially when he's 37?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, I don't know what's the average length of a soccer player, because if you ask me, soccer is a shit ton more athletic and cardiovascularly fit than football is. I'm talking about the cardio side, not the physical side. So what I'm saying is, when you hit like 37 on a cardio standpoint, how the hell do you keep up with all these younger guys at 37? Much less 40 if they give him a 3-year deal or 4-year deal or 5 or whatever.
Yeah, the thing with him is, after what he said to kind of get kicked off of the team that he's on, Manchester United, even though the money's really good, I kind of view Saudi Arabia as a punishment. As in, you were just on one of the most prestigious and historical franchises in all of soccer history, Manchester United, and you want to come out and make a dumb statement that you made. Here's your punishment. Go to Saudi Arabia and play, because you're never going to see this competition in Saudi Arabia that you do now.
But you know what Saudi wants? Saudi has come out and said, hey, look, we want Ronaldo because we feel like he can be an ambassador and a delegate for our country in the world of soccer. They basically want to pimp Ronaldo's name out to make their soccer better, or probably generate more people to come over there and play. They're basically pimping Ronaldo out, I think is what they're
trying. Not going to work. I'm willing to bet you right now that no big name player like Messi or any of these other big name players.
Well, I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying I think that's what
there's not anyone that's going to want to go play professionally in Saudi Arabia, because who the hell wants to live like that?
Yeah, because they have come out and publicly said that they want Ronaldo to be the ambassador for them. So I know that's pretty much what they're looking at, is trying to get him to generate that type of thing.
I mean, they can.
Saudi's going after golf. Next, Saudis are trying to go after soccer. Hey, I'm just saying they're trying to make those moves.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, they can try all they want to get more of those players there, but like I said, if you had
Hey, watch this, Dustin. You say what we say about. Well, yeah, okay, I get you. Watch this. Are all these places you're talking about? Yeah, of course they are, right? And Saudi is what Saudi is right now. But when Saudi has money, and I say Saudi money, you'd be surprised how many people would come over there for that kind of money. They're already leaving the most quote-unquote historical game ever by the PGA, right? We all know how far PGA goes back. And now they're going over to Saudi to play for LIV like ants on freaking sugarcane, man. Come on. Don't tell me it can't happen. I'm telling you, it can happen. Because money always speaks.
It can happen, but it's ultimately the competition, too, where even if you have 10 of the biggest name soccer players go over to Saudi Arabia, what is the rest of your team going to have? That's why all these players are going to Europe, because the worst players on these European teams would be the best players in the MLS. They would be the best players.
And I think with soccer, and correct me if I'm wrong, stat guy, with soccer you have more, since you have more leagues than just one, would be a little bit different than golf, since golf was just the PGA.
Like soccer, you have the MLS, you have the Serie A, you have the Bundesliga, you have the Champions League, you have the Mexican National League. There's a couple of professional leagues in Brazil and Austria and Australia, and every country has at least one professional league. But Europe is like the cream of the crop where it comes to the professional leagues, because you have the Champions League, which takes the best of the best out of all 10 of the European leagues and puts them in one league. Then you have the Premier League, which is your standard European league. The Serie A is your best league in Italy. The Bundesliga is your best league in Germany. And then there's another league in France. And all these teams literally have, if I remember correctly, they said Manchester United, 23 of the 25 players on that roster are starters in the World Cup. So anybody
let me ask you this. What would you say? I don't know what all these different leagues play. Well, first of all, let me go back one question first, because I don't think I ever saw the years that that they were asking for. Do you know how many years they were asking for $300 million?
10.
Okay, so that's $30 million a year is what they're trying to get from Ronaldo.
Until he's 47 at that point.
Yeah, which I don't think Ronaldo sees the end of that contract. Or maybe he does. If they want to make an ambassador, they may. Who knows what they're going to do with that contract? Either way, right now we know they're paying him $30 million a year. What's the average pay? I mean, I know that soccer pays well in England. So I'm not saying that they don't pay well there, because we know that they pay more there, or at least we know that soccer in Europe has paid more than what any U.S. sport has played. Am I correct on that? I think basketball and football are kind of close to that in some respects.
So the average cost for a player that plays in the Premier League is roughly $7 million, which obviously you have your guys that make $20, $30 million like Ronaldo and Messi, and then you have the guys that are maybe making like $800,000, $900,000. But the Premier League plays $7 million, which is the highest paying of any of the leagues.
Because I don't think Saudi's going to give every single player that comes over $30 million. They would have to come down on that somewhat, right? But what if they come down and they say, okay, $30 million is for players in the Ronaldo category, and maybe our second tier will be around the 15 to 20 million range.
Put this into perspective, Jay. Do you know what the average cost of what a player makes in the MLS is?
Oh, it's shit. It's garbage. Oh, trust me. I understand.
$312,400.
It's garbage. Trust me. I know it's garbage, because MLS soccer, if they paid worth a damn, they wouldn't be playing out of these local ass little arenas that they play out of. I mean,
and all these players that are coming to the MLS, like David Beckham, and when Zlatan Ibrahimovic came here, and when all these European players come here and they get these loans for like a 3-year, $20 million contract, most of that money is being funded by the European team, and the MLS team isn't even having to fund it.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is already European soccer pays extremely well. But again, there was a time when I thought PGA played their guys extremely well, and then you see what LIV comes in and how they do it. So my thing is what's to keep Saudi from paying their guys well? I mean, like, say for example, if you said the average income of a soccer guy in England is $7 million a year, and they got to play multiple teams to equal $30 million. Why not come over to Saudi and probably get that with one team, and you're putting less wear and tear on your body?
Mainly because Saudi Arabia only has 16 professional teams.
Right.
Europe has, I think, 74. Mm-hmm. So Saudi Arabia can, probably, if they want to get to the level that Europe does, they probably can. But
to your point, I'm not saying that every single player is going to leave Europe and be able to play in Saudi. Just not like every PGA golfer is going to be able to go play in LIV. But what's to keep people from saying, this is where my overall – because eventually, earlier in the conversation, you had said, which you had a very good point, you had said that Saudi is not like the destination that people want to go play in for soccer. But if over time, when they look at the pay increment, what's to say that doesn't change where Saudi becomes the premier place that you want to try to go play at, because the pay is so much better. Less teams, but better pay.
Because you can only play soccer for 6 or 7 months in Saudi Arabia. Because you have to look at the summer months in Saudi Arabia, which are going to be so hot, you wouldn't be able to play soccer out in that area, which is the main reason why they had to.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like Saudi couldn't afford money to build a dome stadium.
That's the main reason why everyone is going to Europe, because they play soccer 12 months out of the year.
Anthony Price.
You have the regular Premier League that goes on for 7 or 8 months, and then there's like a 2-week break after their season ends, and then the Champions League picks right.
Hey, I'm not sure how to read that comment. Is he saying that he has a stupid question, laugh out loud? Or is he saying that maybe we said a stupid question, laugh out loud?
No, he's asking like what the $7 million there is compared to here. And the $7 million that I referred to is $7 million on U.S. soil, which is equivalent to like 11 to 12 million pounds in Europe.
Yeah. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know what the. I think the pound. I think does the dollar outweigh the pound? I haven't looked at the stock market, so I don't know how the dollar is ranking against the
dollar. The dollar's more than a pound.
So yeah, so I'm saying, so your dollar is getting better over there. Oh
yeah. Damn. So 1 pound is equivalent to $1.23.
So you're 23 cents better.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take 23 cents.
So yeah. So like $7 million here is equivalent to like $10-11 million over there.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, hey, but again, they got to pay taxes. I wonder what their taxes are like over there. Because, for example, if I was playing soccer in Texas, I'm not playing. Well, I wouldn't play soccer in Texas because, like you said, it's like $330,000. Nobody's going to play soccer in Texas. Well, I would. Honestly, I'll go out there and play for $330,000. I'll probably last about 10 minutes. I'm going to pass out at the 5-yard line. But still, I'll try to go out there and play the best I know how. But if I was an actual soccer player, like a good soccer player, I would be trying to get over to Europe. And I think it's just because, like you said, it's more money, right? So.
It's more money, and it's the only league that plays 12 months out of the year.
I mean, because does anybody in MLS even make $7 million? I mean, I'm sure. I guess David Beckham was when he was
the only one. There's anybody. Well, even David Beckham was only making $6 million.
Okay, so that makes a better point. And there's no way in hell you're going to be a millionaire playing. Well, at least not a millionaire per year salary, right? In MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The highest MLS player right now is Xherdan Shaqiri for the Chicago Fire, who makes $8.1 million.
Yeah.
But of that $8.1 million, $7 million of that comes from his European team. So the Chicago Fire are really only on the hook for $1.1 million. And then Xavier Chicharito Hernandez is the second highest paid player at $6 million. And Gonzalo Higuain is making $5.7 million, but 90% of that money comes from the European team that's loaning them here.
And let me ask you a question. Now, this is a stupid question. Anthony Price, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be an extremely stupid question. It's not really a stupid question. It's just more of a curiosity question for me. What would happen if NBA came out and said no player in the NBA will make more than $500,000 a year? What if they just came out and said, you know what, we're revamping our whole pay structure. I understand all you guys were getting hundreds of millions. Those days are gone. Now you only get $500,000. Take it or leave it. And you can leave it. Trust me, you can leave it. Does the NBA fold? Obviously, you're going to lose all the top brand talent.
NBA is going to fold forever, but you're going to go play in Europe. And the thing is, the NBA. That's why the NBA is thinking when I think it's 2025 when their CBA is over. In 2025, and they have to renegotiate like the new CBA or whatever, the NBA is thinking about going with the current soccer process also. And what I mean by that is soccer has that loan process that I keep talking about where if you have a foreign player that is from Europe, like David Beckham, and then he signs with the LA Galaxy, his team in Manchester United loans him to the United States for 6 months out of the year, where he plays his 6-month season with the LA Galaxy. And then when his season with the LA Galaxy is over, then David Beckham would go back over to Europe and play the next 6 months for Manchester United. The NBA wants to do that with a lot of their foreign players right now. Because if you remember...
I agree. Because the weird thing about it, let me ask, because I guess what I'm really kind of boiling it down to in that question was, like I put it in the group chat a long time ago, not that long ago, but it was a little while ago. And I think I even asked you, Dustin. I said, 79 is when the Astros gave the first $1 million contract per year. I should say, first $1 million a year salary in Major League Baseball was given to Nolan Ryan by the Houston Astros. So that was 1979. Now you look at a guy like DeGrom who gets paid $45 million, a year. My question is, at what point do you think it's going to be, or how long do you think it's going to be? Do you think it'll be in our lifetime or our kids' lifetime when we see the first $1 billion contract come out? Because we've already seen now where you have Patrick Mahomes, right, got a 10-year, $500 million. So we're already halfway to the $1 billion contract, right? So my question is if football and all these things go this way, do we ever see $1 billion contract? I mean, does that ever happen? Because it just seems like every year, the price per year or the market value for the quarterback position, for the lead position, it just seems astronomically keeps growing. At some point in our lifetime, Justin, or do you think our kids' lifetime, do they see $1 billion contract, or is that never going to happen?
I don't think it's ever going to happen because then you're looking at salary caps having to be $500 million for each team.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it can ever get to that amount. But technically speaking, we already have $3 billion contracts right now. Stephen Curry, Mike Trout, and LeBron James are all making $1 billion. And a lot of that has to do with their clothing lines. A lot of that has to do with endorsements. And then you tie.
When you start throwing all that other shit in, I'm just
that's
talking.
That's the only way an athlete will ever get to $1 billion is based off of endorsements, because there's no way a league can function with 30 teams at a $500 million salary cap.
Right. I mean, trust me, there's ways to make $1 billion, over 10 years for these athletes, right? Like you said, endorsements and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, just strictly their salary, do they ever get to that level? Or will they ever get to that level?
I think the highest you'll ever see anybody will be $500 million. And that would basically be at $50 million a year for 10 years. I don't think.
Watch this, Dustin. We say that too, right? But I guarantee you go back to 1979 and say, hey, look, let me ask you this. Do you think anybody's ever going to make $50 million a year? They'll be like, fuck no. And now look where we are.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
$50 million a year. Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, because in our brains, we're like, that ain't never going to happen. Just like back in 1979, we're like, no, that'll never happen. I mean, but it happens. It happens.
You're using Nolan Ryan as like your example. Let's just say Nolan Ryan.
I'm just using him as an example because he broke the barrier, right? And I'm talking about breaking the barrier.
Let's just say Nolan Ryan pitched in today's game, and he pitched the way he did back when he was actually pitching.
Right.
I don't even think he gets $50 million a year.
He'd have to, man.
It'd be so hard to do that and still have enough money to put.
You know what? You remember that time when Ventura charged the mound? Remember what Nolan Ryan did? What did he do?
Did he punch
that dude in the face?
Yeah.
First of all, he put him in a headlock. Then he punched him in the face. Could you imagine Nolan Ryan? Oh, what? You're not going to give me $50 million? He put that owner right in the headlock. Give him about 3 shots in the face.
Well, to go with what you were saying, though, if any sport were to give somebody $1 billion contract, it would be baseball because they don't have a salary cap. That would be the only sport where I see it being feasibly possible because they don't have that cap. Every other sport.
If I can, real quick, since we did bring up Nolan Ryan's name, I just want to read. I found this like 2 days ago, and I thought it was just freaking incredible. Anybody that tells me that Nolan Ryan isn't the best pitcher in baseball, I found something even more elated than what his 7 no-hitters gives him. Listen to this. In June of 1974, by the way, Nolan Ryan was pitching for the California Angels at that point. And in June of 1974, Nolan Ryan threw 235 pitches against the Boston Red Sox. He made his next start on 3 days rest and won. Then he pitched 19 more years. I said that to say this. You pitchers today are a bunch of pussies.
Anthony Price says he thinks we'll see $1 billion contract, but it's going to be over 20 years. What do you think Deshaun Watson is going to look like this Sunday after not playing for like 700 days? And what's the public reaction going to be to him finally being back on the field? I know some of the women are going to be at the game up in a suite, which I think up in a suite don't make no damn sense. If you're going to protest, be where you can be seen and protest. I don't have no problem with them protesting, but do it out and either be in the front row on the sideline or out in front of the stadium. I don't think being in the suite is a big protest. But what do you think the reaction is going to be to Deshaun Watson? And he's going to be in Houston, making his debut back in the league.
I'm gonna go like that. I have a question. I have a comment and a question for you. So if I may, can I defer and go last?
Yeah, you can go defer. I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to make it through the game.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Shh. Hold on. No, please. Nobody say anything. Nobody say anything. There's something. Hold on a minute. It's almost there. It's almost there. Yeah, we're there. Okay. Now, what were you saying?
Why did I know that was happening?
No, continue what you were saying. I had to take a tactical pause on that, but go ahead. Continue what you were saying.
I just don't think he's going to make it through the game for the sole purpose that it's going to be similar to when the New Orleans Saints had their bounty scandal. I think so many players are going to try to take as many cheap shots as they can at him, just because of how this process went about, how many accusations have gone against him. Granted, it is an accusation. It's not been fully determined that he did this to everybody, but how he got suspended less games than Calvin Ridley, how he got suspended less games than certain players that did a lot less than he did. And yet he's not only allowed to play this year, but he got the contract that he got, but he got a lot of privileges back that a lot of players lost that did a lot less than he did. And I think that's going to rub players the wrong way. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see some cheap shots being taken at him where a player will get suspended for the rest of the season based on the shot they take against him.
And not just that, his body isn't calloused like it used to be.
He's gone almost 2 years. He's gone almost 2 years without taking a single hit in the NFL.
Yeah, your body gets calloused and kind of gets used to taking those hits. His body isn't used to taking them hits. So that worries me about an injury.
Yeah, like even if it's not a cheap shot, I think if someone gets a good shot on him, I think he gets hurt. I don't see him if he makes it through this Sunday, which he probably could because they are playing Houston. I don't think he finishes the season. I realistically don't, just because of what Chris just said. He hasn't taken an actual hit in the NFL in 2 years. You're going to have teams that are not going to like him. They're going to have players that are not going to like him. And we've seen it before where if a player doesn't like a player in the NFL, they will do what they have to do to make their point proven that they don't like a player. Look at Vontaze Burfict, for example, with Cincinnati, where he basically said he hated Antonio Brown so much, which is why he gave to Antonio Brown that shot that he gave him in the playoffs. And to this day, I think that's what essentially messed Antonio Brown up.
I'm sorry. I was trying to delete that comment. Freaking retard people. No, we don't want no damn Casey panel freaking promotional bullshit.
He's been practicing for a couple of weeks, but quarterbacks don't take no hits at practice.
They don't.
But what if he, and that's what I was saying. I wonder if I was him and I was training, would you not like get some college guys or some high school guys, whatever? Hey, look, man, I need to do some real time conditioning just to keep my body, in a certain direction.
He couldn't though. Based off of how his suspension worked last year, he couldn't do any training with anybody.
Wait, no, he can do training on his own. They can't say, "Hey, go to your local high school field."
He can't pay athletes. Until this year, you couldn't pay college athletes. So what college athlete is going to be like? Oh, sure, I'll be willing to put my body in the line and take some hits against you, and all of a sudden you find out that your star linebacker in college dislocates his shoulder because he tries to make a play on Watson and gets hurt.
Hey, look, we're not worried about the college athlete right now. We're talking about Deshaun Watson. I'm just trying to say the NFL can't. The NFL can't do nothing for him. And it didn't have to be even NFL. Go to the USFL. Go to the XFL.
That's where I'm surprised he didn't go. I'm surprised when his suspension was handed out that he didn't go to the USFL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's ways you can still keep yourself in the game.
There was a team in Houston, the Houston Gamblers. And all the USFL.
How crazy would that be if he had to come back to the Gamblers? Oh my God.
And all the USFL games were played.
Hell would have broke loose, right?
And all the games in the USFL were played in Birmingham, Alabama. So it's not like he would have had to go very far to get to Birmingham. I'm really surprised he didn't just sign with the USFL team and said, "I'm just here to."
Absolutely. I mean, seriously, 1 year of conditioning would have had him ready to go for the season.
It wouldn't even been 1 year conditioning. It would have been 3 months because then
that's my point. I mean, You know what I'm saying? Like, just anything would have had him ready to go for the season.
Yeah, because once the USFL season ends, that's when the NFL draft starts.
Or watch this. Yo, Amari. Hey, them days when you off during the week or whatever the case may be, I'm out here in Cleveland. Hey, man, let's just go pitch the ball and run some routes. He can do that at his own house or his high school field.
Yeah.
To build the chemistry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Chris, can you put that one comment back up that Anthony had before? I know he mentioned me in something from Monday. Oh,
Yeah, I bet that's going to be a hellified amount of views.
not really because you got to remember. Not really because you got to remember Houston is terrible.
They don't care about Houston. They care about watching Deshaun Watson.
I get that, but
what craziness happens.
Unlike the NBA, the NHL, and the MLB, all the games on Sunday are all freaking regionalized games. So really, the only ones that are going to be getting that game on Sunday are people that live in the Ohio area.
No, we're all getting it. Watch this. No, I can't see because I got my glasses off. But watch my right eye. We all getting it. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know how. We all getting it.
Yeah, well, they only take it. The only views they take into account for the ones that actually.
Hey, listen, you go out there and you fight Jed Clampett in the Rocky Mountains. Jed Clampett gonna have that game on. I promise you.
So yeah, I get Green Bay in Chicago or Minnesota in New York.
That's because you don't live in Green. That's because you need to go to the Rocky Mountains. They'll show you how to get it because you out there city slicking it.
City slicking.
Hold on, but I have a question, man. So Deshaun Watson said, "Hey, look, man. To answer your question, how's he gonna play?" The man done said, "Look." He even said it in his press conference. I've been playing football since I was 6 years old. He goes, "Yeah, I might have to, take a couple of hits to get back into things, but I still know how to throw the ball. I still know how to run the routes. There's still certain things that he knows how to do. He needs to go out. The biggest thing for Deshaun, and I think Deshaun knows that, the biggest thing for Deshaun at this point is just getting the chemistry of where the receivers want the ball, making sure that, that their route running and his timing is on point. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? As long as he knows where the receiver wants the ball, the man knows the damn play. Look, he ain't had nothing time but to study that damn play, but I guarantee him to you, Deshaun Watson is well-versed in the Cleveland Browns playbook. All he needs to do now is get that little bit of chemistry between him and Peoples and him and Amari Cooper. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be fine.
Yeah, well, that was the big issue with his suspension too. If you remember, with his suspension, he couldn't practice for the first 8 weeks.
Yeah, I understand.
So even if he wanted to do work with anybody, he really couldn't do much until the last 3 weeks.
And that's okay, because 3 weeks, every day for 3 hours a day, we're gonna run routes until we get sick and tired of running routes, and then we're gonna run 4 more routes. Trust me, 3 weeks, you can still do it. If you really get out there and dedicate, you can do it. Now, whether or not the receivers want to dedicate the time with you, I don't know, but it can be done.
Hey, Jay, I got some breaking news out of Texas for you. You know who Hudson Card is, right?
You said what now?
You know who Hudson Card is, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Hudson Card is planning on entering the NCAA transfer portal.
Yeah, I saw that. That's not breaking news. That was like yesterday.
Look for the Wisconsin Badgers to make a run at him now that Luke Fickell is the head coach.
You know what? And I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that because you know what? Hey, look, man, when you got Ewers and then you got Archie coming in next year, I expect him to go to the portal because where are they going to put him? I mean, it's not fair to Card to sit third behind Archie when you've been there for a year already, and it's your turn. So, yeah, man, you got to do what you got to do, man. I don't hate the guy, man. Hey, I just want the guy to be successful in his career. So, and again, it's crowded. So you knew he was gonna. I knew there was gonna be some transfer portal come in when Archie came in on his red shirt. I knew somebody was transferring out.
Damian, a USFL team would have signed Deshaun Watson because it was going to get them a bunch of.
You gotta bring race. Take that.
Here's the thing.
Take that shit off.
All 8 of the USFL teams would have signed him. All 8 of the XFL teams would have signed him for one reason: he would bring butts into the seats, which would bring the league money.
Yep.
Why was the XFL created? The XFL was created as a second chance league for players who either had a brief opportunity in the NFL and never had a chance to showcase it, or lost the opportunity because of injuries. The USFL was created as a developmental league for a lot of these college players who may not have been drafted, but they wanted to give them that outlet to show NFL teams that they had what it took to be in the NFL. A guy like Deshaun Watson, yes, he's been drafted. Yes, he's had a lot of success. But you put Deshaun Watson in the USFL and you pair him with a receiver who all of a sudden goes and has like a 1,000-yard receiving season with Deshaun Watson. How many teams do you think are going to be calling that wide receiver right now, who literally just caught 1,000 yards from Deshaun Watson? Obviously, he can play in the NFL because he just played with an NFL quarterback the last 10 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been signed for one, like you said, money. And Damon, it wouldn't matter if it was black, white, or what color when it comes to that. Race wouldn't have been an issue.
No, it's like if you look at the USFL, unless the Birmingham Stallions were playing because that was the home team, obviously, because of the stadium, you were lucky to get 5,000 people at a USFL game. The first time Deshaun Watson walks into that stadium, it's sold out at 70,000 people. Just because people are going to want to see him play and see what he looks like after not playing football for a year.
And all kinds of people will be watching on TV.
Yep.
I didn't watch the USFL. I watched maybe half a game last year. But if Deshaun Watson would have been playing, I'd have tuned in to see what how he played.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Price said, didn't T.O. play in the USFL or something?
I think did he go to the Canadian Football League? I thought it was CFL he went to, but I might be wrong. He did play in another league. I want to say it was CFL, but it could have been US. I don't know if USFL was around in that time period.
He played for the Allen Wranglers, which was an indoor football league in Texas for a year. Then he played for the FCS Zappers, which was another indoor football league, and now he's on a team called the Knights of Degen, which is part of that fan-controlled football league, that indoor 7-on-7 league.
So he did a lot of that indoor arena football stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. Hey, look, you want to see some hardcore stuff? Go to an arena football game. But you only got 50 yards to do what you got to do in. Hey, that's some serious battle royale. I mean, seriously. Hey, listen. Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, man. If you like that crazy, I mean, hey, arena football.
Jay, you're thinking of Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson is the one that played for the Montreal Alouettes.
Oh man.
I know. Well, I couldn't remember if it was. I knew it was one of those guys in that time period that had gone over the CFL.
I'm not even putting that comment up there.
I gotta put Damien in timeout for this. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that bullshit. Well, if he was white, he'd be all right. He was white, he'd be all right.
What'd you say, that guy?
Can you put that comment in the private chat so I can see it?
Huh?
Well, he said that what he said was that the USFL would have never signed him because they played in Alabama, and Alabama is still the most racist state.
Okay, but who ran the USFL? The NFL ran the USFL, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
You could have freaking.
You see XFL will take everybody, and USFL won't last.
Yeah, I don't think USFL is going to last long. I don't see how they're playing in one damn stadium is ever going to last long.
They will, but it's not going to matter because the USFL has, I believe, a 2 or 3 year contractual agreement, which means any one of the players that played in the USFL last year has to be on that team for at least 2 years, unless you're picked up by an NFL team. So
which sucks because I really love the Houston Gamblers. I freaking love our helmet design, but freaking USFL playing a damn.
But if the XFL does have plans to do that, they have to wait for at least another year or two when those contractual agreements are over, and that's the main reason why the USFL is. I'm not going to say competing with the XFL because I think the XFL is going to offer a far superior product than the USFL will have, and I think USFL is going to lose a lot of viewerships once the XFL comes back. But that's kind of the main reason why they were willing to kind of go toe-to-toe with the XFL is because they know they're pretty much set in stone for 3 years because of that 3 year contract where the players have to be on these teams for 3 years unless an NFL team picks them up. So they know for sure that they have at least a team in place for 3 years.
Hey, it's that guy. I just shot a spitball right at your face.
Hey,
God, you talk forever.
Before we get out of here, there was one more thing I wanted to.
We're getting out of here already. We didn't even talk no baseball.
Baseball's not important until Monday when the winter meeting starts.
We talked to baseball. One thing I wanted to talk about was OBJ. He's meeting with the Giants today. the Bills Friday, and the Cowboys Monday. Where's OBJ going to end up at?
Don't answer that yet, because I have a question on top of his question, which is a formidable, serious question. Listen, OBJ said he wants to play for a contender. And he said he's going to make his decision up after Thanksgiving, which OBJ, you really should have already made that decision. I'm a little disappointed in you, but I was okay.
Yeah, kicked off of an airplane after
but now he's going to visit Buffalo, who sits in the number 2 spot and is a half game back of first of Miami, which is why I think this is very pivotal. If Buffalo loses this week to the Patriots, now what does that make them look like in OBJ's eyes? What a time to be alive. And that's tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
Do you think the Giants?
I didn't like rooting for the Patriots. I hate the Patriots and rooting for anything that has New England written all over it. But God, what a time to be alive! I'm done. I apologize. Go ahead, Gonzo.
No, I was asking you. Where do you think OBJ is going to end up at? Giants?
Oh, I'm sorry. Honestly, hey, look, I don't think it's ever changed. I still think he's going. I think he meets with Jerry on Monday. Because look, OBJ has had an informal, I believe it was a telephone call or whatever, with OBJ, but they haven't sat down yet. I think when he sits down Monday, especially, that's why I said that I think the Dolphins game and the Cowboys game this Sunday, can we play you guys Sunday? We play the Colts Sunday night. I think the Buffalo Bill game on Thursday, the Cowboys game on Sunday, and I think when they meet on Monday, Jerry's going to look at him and say, "Look, man, we 9-3.
What about Buffalo? What if he, what if he goes to the Giants today or the Bills tomorrow on Friday, and he decides to go ahead and go to one of them teams? He don't even make it to the Dallas visit.
Yeah, would you go to the Giants?
I don't think he goes to either one of those teams.
Would you? No, what I'm saying, would you go to the Giants and would you go to the Bills that have a depleted secondary? Oh, his boy Vaughn that he loves so much. Yeah, he ain't even playing right now. Nah, he makes it through. I think he makes it through.
I still think he's going to end up. I think he's going to end up in Buffalo.
I just want all I care about is that Dallas. Look, Jerry, don't put him on a plane unless it's your private plane. Otherwise, if you're not giving him a private plane, just pay one badass Uber dude and have that dude Ubered all the way down.
Oh, wait a minute, Jay. That guy just said something. You don't think he's going to be on any of those teams?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he's going to end up?
It's a team that he's talked about joining before. Shut
up.
Shut
up.
Hey, I want to hear it. Let him say it.
He ain't going to Kansas City. Go ahead. Say Kansas City, but go ahead.
That's not the team I'm talking about.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Their current GM worked with him last year in Cleveland. And their current GM has a very good relationship with him and spent a lot of time with him over the summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Minnesota.
Hey, what?
Because what is one?
Yeah, I can see the Vikings. You know what?
What is one thing Minnesota?
Jefferson, I can see that.
Because Adam Thielen's in the final year of his contract.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's number 3 receiver is KJ Osborne, who, I mean, he's not a bad number 3 receiver, but he's certainly not a number 2. If Adam Thielen is brought back, Minnesota will probably bring him back on like a 1 or a 2 year deal, just because he's going to be 33 going on 34, so you're not going to sign him long term. Having Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Odell Beckham, that's not a bad top 3 to throw to for any quarterback, whether Kirk Cousins is there or not.
Anthony makes a good point, man, and you make a good point too. If he goes to Minnesota, he'll be in a dome stadium. He'll be warm. It'll be fine. He doesn't go to Buffalo because could you imagine a dude that has all those injuries going to Buffalo and playing in that cold ass crazy weather?
Oh yeah, that's the only thing
I think he signs with Dallas or Minnesota. The 2 that I think he's going to end up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Dallas and Minnesota. Oh, isn't that interesting? Hey, who just beat Minnesota and blew them out the fucking water? Oh, that's right. It was Dallas. Oh.
I'm just saying, like, the whole
Jay's gonna be so disappointed if he don't end up in Dallas.
the whole The ultimate,
I'll have to call check on
Man,
Billy.
I've been waiting 26 damn years. Come on.
the ultimate X factor is Kwesi. Because the only thing that the Vikings have that nobody else really has is that personal relationship side of things, which Kwesi has with Odell Beckham working with him in Cleveland for 2 years. Von Miller can say that he has like a great relationship with him because they were teammates, but they were teammates for 2 months? Kwesi worked with him for 2.5 years in Cleveland. Kwesi was kind of the one guy in Cleveland that got Odell Beckham to Cleveland because the owner in Cleveland didn't want him there. But Kwesi said, let's get him here, and I can talk to him, and we'll be able to get the most out of him with what we have. And Cleveland was at their best when Odell Beckham was healthy, and they were getting the most out of him. And to this day, Kwesi and Odell talk a lot. That's the one team that has that person inside the organization that has that personal relationship with him. And you don't hear Minnesota being mentioned that much just because they don't have a lot in terms of salary cap space right now to like afford anybody. But if you sign a guy like Odell Beckham, you don't have to pay him much this year. So you sign him, let's just say you sign him to like a 3-year, $20 million deal. You might only have to give him $2 million for this year. And then you have to pay him out $18 million the next 2 years. Well, if Minnesota has $6 million to play with, they can easily afford the $2 million this year. Then you get to next year, you're going to have certain contracts off the book like Adam Thielen, which is I think 7.8 or 7.9 million. They have another guy on defense that's making like $6 million, so that clears $13 million off the books right there. Minnesota could easily make it work if Beckham believes in what Kwesi's doing in Minnesota, if he believes in what Kevin O'Connell's doing, and Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips were with the Rams last year where Odell Beckham also played. Kevin O'Connell was the offensive coordinator. Wes Phillips was the quarterback coach. So
the interesting thing about it is everything that you've mentioned absolutely has validity. I'm not going to say that anything you said doesn't have validity behind it, but I'm going to say this. If that's the case, why has Minnesota never even come out of his mouth?
They have.
Every single article that has Odell Beckham asking where he going, Minnesota never comes out of his mouth.
If you look at early reports like back in September, October.
We ain't in September and October.
He mentioned
I want to know where November and December are.
He mentioned Minnesota and Kansas City really early in the year, but after the Vikings traded for TJ Hawkinson, those talks kind of went away just because Minnesota is going to be forced to pay Hawkinson next year because of that 5th-year option.
Exactly. That's why I think he winds up in Dallas.
But he's always mentioned Minnesota as an option because of Kwesi, because of O'Connell, because of Wes Phillips. And like I said, with Adam Thielen being in the final year of his deal, I'm not going to be surprised at all if Minnesota doesn't bring him back and they roll the dice on a guy like Beckham and be like, the money we were going to give Thielen, we'll give you.
Yeah, but Thielen has a better track record of staying on the field than Odell does.
He does.
I don't know if you want to give I don't know if you want to give that up, but I understand your viewpoint. Again, though, I know Damien's talking some stupid shit about Philadelphia and Miami. Look, I don't think Odell fits the Eagles system. Miami, you could probably throw him down. They got Gesicki, they got Waddle, they got Tyreek Hill. I don't know that they necessarily need Odell. I mean, I can see what you're saying, but Miami might be the best out of the two that you mentioned. But I gotta be honest with you, man.
Wait a minute.
Is where he fits.
Hey Jay, wait a minute. It was Anthony Price that mentioned Philly. You can't compare Anthony to Damien.
Oh, well, normally Damien says stupid shit like that. So Anthony Price leaves me for a loss of words. Anthony.
Hey Jay, before we get out of here, what did you want to talk about baseball wise?
No, the only thing I really want to talk about baseball wise, I like the direction that a lot of teams are going in. I feel like Bryce Harper is going to be out for a little while, so I like to see the fact that they're looking at a Trey Turner to kind of come in and give him that bat. Also, they really do need help with shortstop, so I think that really addresses some issues if they are able to land him. I see a lot of teams out there that are really trying to get better. I see Seattle out there, trying to sign pitching, trying to sign everybody they can to bolster up that team that they have. It's really good to see, I mean, free agency could go a little faster. Again, you got Xander Bogaerts, you got Carlos Correa still on the board at shortstop that are out there. And if you're an American League guy, you can always put, you're not going to put Correa. But Correa is good. Correa can play in multiple decisions. He doesn't have to necessarily just play shortstop. So if this is that, there's still a lot of good players out there that are on the board that haven't been taken yet. I'm really happy with the way my team is standing. I don't know how you guys are with your teams, but when I look at the Astros, I look at Jim Crane. I wasn't exactly happy.
Do you think he
didn't give Click the bonus or the reward that he should get for putting and keeping this team doing what it's doing? I was a little upset about that. I felt like the Astros should have rewarded him for that, not just give him just a slight bump. So I don't mind Click leaving. I would have left too if you said, "Hey, look, man, we're only going to give you a small marginal bump." What are you talking about? I built all this. This is all me. And you want to give me a marginal bump?
Jay, do you think they overpaid for Abreu?
At 36?
The 3 years I'm okay with, but do you think $20 million a year for a 36 going on 37?
I get it. And I think they're trying to pay him more for that 2020 MVP that he got rather than where he is now. Am I okay with it? I'm never okay giving that much money, but I do applaud their abilities to bring it, because I still think, look, the guy batted 305, 315 last year. Yeah, I'll bring that bat in.
Are you worried? Are you worried they're going to overpay for Contreras?
Well, they're good. I know for a fact. I don't think they're planning on bringing Vasquez back.
No.
So we're going to need somebody to back up Maldi. And I do like Wilson
Contreras. He's not backing up Maldi. Maldi's going to be backing up Contreras.
Well, I don't know, though. I don't know, man, because a lot of pitchers really like Maldi's game calling. So I don't know that it's just that easy to take him out. Yeah, does his bat suffer? Of course it does. But his game management, his game calling is still paramount.
You could use Contreras as the DH.
You could use Contreras as a DH. And I'm okay with that too. Okay with that too.
Are you worried to pay him?
Oh God, but see, here's the deal. Jim Crane came out and said there's 3 issues. There's 3 areas in the team I plan to upgrade. He already upgraded one with Abreu. Although I would like to see him bring back Gurriel, because I love Gurriel's glove, and I still think he's got some great defensive stuff left in that glove. So I wouldn't mind seeing him bring back Gurriel. I like Gurriel at first. From a defensive standpoint, from a rotational standpoint. And again, I think you can use him as a utility man, bring in Abreu and use Gurriel as a utility guy. I'm okay with that too, because Gurriel can play multiple positions too. I've seen him do it. I think you got to bring back Gurriel. You already brought in Abreu. He's already said he's going to address the catching position. He's going to address the outfielding position, and he's still going to look for more pitching, which I don't know why you need to look for more pitching. You got plenty of fucking pitching, but you know what? I'm not going to stop. You want to bring in another pitcher? Go bring in another pitcher. I know he has come out and said currently that Verlander is still in the mix, that Verlander is not just gone like everybody thinks he is. So I know he's in the mix. I know Gurriel, he has said, is in the mix. They want to bring Gurriel back. Honestly, all you really need to do, and I hope Michael Brantley is healthy. If Michael Brantley is healthy, you got to bring a guy like Michael Brantley back. He's a contact hitter. He gave them the words of encouragement when they were down 2-1 or 1-2 that got them back into it. And matter of fact, that's what led to the no-hitter. So I like Brantley as a locker room presence. I like him as a contact hitter. He plays the outfield pretty well. So you could easily have Brantley, Tucker, and McCormick in your outfield. Throw Alvarez as your DH. And if you want to, you can swap out Alvarez with Gurriel as you see fit, to give them a rest or give them a break, whatever the case may be. Or have Gurriel come in and give Abreu a rest. You can use him as a utility guy that way. I want to keep, as long as they're keeping the team exactly the way it is, you bring back a Brantley, you bring back a Gurriel, you bring back, you try either A, you bring back Vasquez, or B, you go after Wilson Contreras, and then let's make that shot at Benintendi for the outfield from the Yankees. I think if you would solidify that, if you're able to get Verlander, great. If not, I give 2 shits about whether you bring Verlander back or not at 39 years of age. I'm good with the starting rotation we have. I'm good with the relief that we have. The fact that you have Montero, the fact that you have Abreu, and the fact that you have Presley as your 3 setup guys in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, we're locked. We're ready. And I tell you, if they do get Benintendi, I'm calling it now, man. We are World Series bound. Anybody think that the Astros aren't going back to the World Series? You full of shit or don't know baseball. Let's go.
They're not going back to the World Series.
I hear some alcohol bets going on. I could use a nice small batch whiskey, Gonzo.
It's too early to talk about World Series.
I hear a nice small batch.
We got to see what happens
Breckenridge
during the hot
out of
stove
the great state of Breckenridge, Colorado, from the Breckenridge Mountains. I hear a very beautiful Breckenridge small batch whiskey. Are we gonna bet that? It's only about $41 a bottle. You can afford it. Let's go.
I'm sorry, can't afford it. I'm on a budget.
On a budget? I got a secondhand couch. What are you talking about, budget? I got a secondhand couch, and I gotta convince Blue to get up out of my spot.
Hey, I got the same problem. Except my dog's a little chihuahua. He wants to lay right in the middle of the damn couch where I can't even get on there.
Bro, it's so bad. It's so bad. Hey, I remember one time Blue was over there eating, and I sat down in my spot. That fucker came over and looked at me dead in the eye, bit me in the face, and then went and sat in the other spot.
Can I ask you a question before we end, since I missed most of the football talk probably?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a premier matchup this Sunday with Justin Jefferson versus Sauce Gardner. Does Justin Jefferson pick up the first touchdown since Sauce Gardner's senior year in high school?
That's a damn good-ass question. That's a real good question.
I'm going to say yes.
You know, just to fuck with Gonzo, I'm going no.
What does the
I'll tell you what. Hey, Gonzo, let's put a nice bottle of Mad Dog 2020 on it. I want the peach flavor.
What's the Minnesota?
That's like
Vikings fan
$7.85.
What was that, Chris?
I said, what's the Vikings fan think? You think Jefferson will get a touchdown?
I do, but I don't know if it'll be a receiving touchdown, so it wouldn't count. I think they might get him on like a jet sweep, but I don't know if he gets the actual receiving touchdown, because until I see Sauce Gardner give up a touchdown, I can't say that he's going to.
I'm just saying yes because odds are eventually he has to give up a touchdown. I mean,
It's going
to happen sometime.
Up one though.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's due to give up one. That's crazy, to be able to say you haven't gave up a touchdown in 5 years. I mean, that's just. Oh,
that is. No, seriously. That's.
Have we ever seen a quarterback that dominant?
I don't even think Dion was that dominant.
I think
a lot.
I know Sauce is going to be the first rookie in NFL history not to allow a touchdown his rookie season if he can finish the year without giving one up. But I'd have to do some digging to see if there's ever been a cornerback that's even gone an entire season without allowing a touchdown, whether it's been a rookie or a veteran.
I'll tell you what, though, that's the best pickup the Jets ever drafted, so far at least in the modern day era.
And Breece Hall before he got hurt.
And Breece Hall. Oh, damn. You know what? You're right. We forget about, it's amazing when people go down with injuries. Sometimes they skip our mind. But, yeah, you're right. And he'll be back next year. Look, he'll repair that ACL. He'll be back, whatevs. But, yeah, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner. I mean, the Jets really, really did well drafting this year.
Plus that Garrett Wilson.
You're right.
Just need to figure out the quarterback situation.
They have figured it out. And I'm going to call it right now that Zach Wilson does not start another game in New York. It's
hell, man. My blind grandmother and Ray Charles and Blue could have called that shit.
But I think it's Mike White's job. I think it's Mike White's job.
You think Mike White's going to be the long-term answer?
He's played 3 games as a quarterback. It was his first NFL. It was his first NFL start last week, but he's already played in like 3 games. And all he's done in the 3 games that he's played is throw for 950 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 pick.
Well, let's put it this way. I think the Jets are really good test subject to test whether or not, he has it or doesn't have it, right? I mean, if he goes out there and the Jets go out there and they just play lights out, or even if they play pretty good and still get the win, I mean, that's got to say something for Mike White, don't you think?
Who do the Jets play this week?
Minnesota.
Yep, Minnesota.
He probably didn't realize that when he said Sauce Gardner and Justin Jefferson. It's okay. It's all good.
I realized
man.
it, and I spaced it.
He probably thought he said the boogeyman. It's okay. It's all good.
Oh man! As soon as I said who they play, it clicked in my head. Dumbass, we're just talking about it. All right, let's
call me dumbass one time.
Let's get the
skillet.
Let's get the final thoughts. Jay, what's your final thoughts for this Thursday?
I just told you my final thought. I said my mama called me a dumbass phone, and she wound up in the skillet. No, I'm kidding. I'm serious. My mom is still alive, happily, thankfully. She's alive. She's not in the skillet. But no, seriously, what my final thoughts are, man. God, I had some final thoughts I wanted to say, and now I done forgot all of them. Just two final thoughts. Number one, it's just a comment, and the other two are thoughts. Number one, the comment is, I really hate the Patriots. I hate them with all that's in me, but I would like to see them beat the Buffalo Bills. I just would like to see them beat the Buffalo Bills. Secondly, as the actual final thought, or just comment. Really, it's not a thought; it's a comment. I don't have too many thoughts. The last comment is, hey, on Tuesday, Stat Guy, you may want to plug in Tuesday, because next Tuesday, I got something of juicy female in sports, something of historical value that maybe you're not tracking. And I would love to just see the look on your face when I come up with some nuggets of information that did not hit the Whopper computer. So just to put that out there, Tuesday, there's going to be a topic that's going to revert a female and what she did I'll even give you the game. What she did in the game of MLB on the minor league level, at least. Well, minor/major, however you want to look at it. There's a very important, influential female I'm going to talk about, and I'm curious to know if Stat Guy knows anything about her or can guess any of my questions about her when I deliver that topic. What a time to be alive. Jesus. So tune in for Tuesday, next Tuesday. There is no show Saturday, unscripted, no show Saturday. We got Boy Cutter from Houston, and Logan's got work, so we're going to chill on Saturday. But when we come back Tuesday, we're coming back popping, and we're going to come back popping hard with a lot of good stuff. But still, unscripted tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Your boy Gonzo to my right, your left, and maybe down below if his mom will let him stay past his curfew. We'll have some really good entertainers on tonight on unscripted at 7 p.m. Eastern.
You got any final thoughts, That Guy?
Well, I just got an alert that Michigan running back Blake Corum is done for the year.
I figured that. I figured that shit.
I'm not saying that's going to make a difference on Saturday because I still don't think Purdue stands a chance in hell to beat Michigan on Saturday, but that might make a difference when they get to the college football playoff as opposed to if they had him.
Bro, after what Edwards did to Ohio, nobody care about what Corum doing right now. Let Corum rest, relax, and recuperate. Edward got the helm. Let's go. Shit.
But my other final thought's not really a thought. It's the main reason why I was a little late joining the show today. But I got a call from my old track coach when I was in high school. Not only did he offer me the sprinter coach position this spring, which is something that I've been working for the last couple of years, but he also wanted to let me know that I'm going into the Athletic Hall of Fame at my high school, and I will be getting inducted.
Oh, yeah, that's cool as hell.
I'm clapping for the job. The fact that you're in the Hall of Fame out there in corn-fed Wisconsin just means you breed out the other 400-pounders that are running sub-10s in a quarter. But I'm clapping for the job. Hey, I'm clapping for the job. Hey, cool, badass, man. Congrats on the job. Congrats.
Thank you.
But you need to call that son of a bitch that's 400 pounds that came in second and tell him, na boo boo, you couldn't catch me.
That guy, are we gonna be good for Monday?
Yes, we better bring the show back on Monday since the winter meetings are starting.
That's well, you said December. You said December, so I was just double checking. A couple things I got real quick. Well, you can't be on the afternoon show tomorrow, Jay, can you?
Nah, unfortunately, the psychological person is going to be looking at my brain and trying to figure out why I'm so. Let's just call it me.
Why you're so sexy?
So that means
Let me just say, I got a certain sex appeal. I am.
That means there probably won't be no.
I don't know what that meant.
No, that means there probably won't be no afternoon show tomorrow because I'll actually be on the road traveling to Cincinnati, Ohio for a pro wrestling show that I'll be streaming live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Dan the B7 will be on the show, and then some other guys that's been in WWE and Impact Wrestling, MLW. But it's going to be a stacked card, so tune in Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for that. Also, Sunday I'll be doing a live pro wrestling show as well. So tomorrow there won't be an afternoon show, or I won't be doing Easy Money, a sports betting show on Friday. And then I just found out next Thursday, December 8th, I'll be live streaming a high school wrestling meet that's going to be taking place here Muncie Central against Cowan. So that should be pretty cool. Be some amateur wrestling. We'll be live streaming that next Thursday. I think it's like 6:30. So that should be a pretty cool event. I'm hoping
Where
that.
Can they find that, Gonzo? Is it just on your Gonzo Sports page? Will it be ASAP? Will it be? We're all platforms when they look for that.
It's going to be on both. It'll be on Gonzo Sports Room and the ASAP Network on all the platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all of it.
That's what's up.
And I'm hoping that I'll get to do maybe some more.
I'm gonna go down there up to we'll go to Chicago or wherever the hell it is that Stat Guy lives these days. And Gonzo, I'll sweep you up in the RV, man. You and Pops, man, and we'll make stop by Stat Guy's house. We'll go out to the backyard. I'll let you set up your shit, and I'm gonna just beat the ever living dog shit out of Stat Guy in wrestling.
Gonzo, how far are you willing to travel for wrestling?
Oh
no, hold on. Before you answer that, I just issued a challenge to Stat Guy in wrestling. I said I could whoop your ass in wrestling. And you can even call me Blue. You can call me Blue Pulaski.
Chris, how far are you willing to travel to live stream wrestling?
Are you talking like pro wrestling or amateur wrestling? I didn't hear you. Sorry. Amateur.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on I'll travel about anywhere if I can make it work.
See if you can get in contact with Kaukauna High School in Wisconsin.
Okay. Wisconsin. What is that, about 5-6 hour drive?
Yeah, January 6th and 7th, they are running the 33rd annual Cheesehead Invitational, which is one of the biggest high school wrestling tournaments nationwide. They obviously have teams from Wisconsin in the meet. There's a team from Arizona there, a team from Colorado, teams from Illinois and Minnesota. Indiana's typically had a couple teams there. Iowa, Missouri, there's teams from all over the Midwest there. There's Division I wrestlers there, galore. I believe last year's champion was I think they're back this year too.
What'd you say the guy's name was?
The high school is Kaukauna High School, and the meet is called the Cheesehead Invitational.
Kaukauna High School, okay.
And last year's champions were out of Illinois. I think they were either from Edwardsville, Illinois, or Lockport, Illinois. I can't remember, but they had a heavyweight wrestler that finished his high school career 174-0.
Oh yeah, Illinois has some tough.
What I saw, Stat Guy. You want to know what I saw? Let me tell you something. What I saw. I remember one time about 2 years ago, about 4 years ago, when I was still in the military, they had a little wrestling tournament between the whole entire post. You come out to this one gym, and it's just one by one until there's only one guy left standing, and that's basically your winner. And I'll never forget this. My platoon sergeant went out there one time, and this dude was like, he had jiu-jitsu under his belt. I mean, this guy had like all kinds of wrestling, stuff under. This dude put a guy to sleep. I'll never forget this. This dude put him to sleep, and the bell went off. The little dinger bell that said the round was over. The bell went off, and the guy said, "Get up." And so my platoon sergeant got up. The dude was still on the fucking ground, and he said the winner by bell was the dude that was asleep on the floor. And I shit you not, he raised his hand while that dude's asleep on the floor. That is the winner. I'll never forget that. Craziest thing ever. But no, in all seriousness though, if you ever look up James Bell, if you look up James Bell, Oklahoma State, James Bell wrestling, Oklahoma State. That was my first sergeant. He was number 6 in the nation, and I'll tell you what, man, that dude was he was amazing.
He had one of the best wrestlers ever as his coach there at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm telling to this day, I seen a first time go down to the dungeon of our barracks, and I seen that man break the neck of a sergeant major. Shit you not. DDT'd him, broke his neck. They took the sergeant major out on the stretcher. 3 weeks later, we left for Afghanistan. 4 months later, the sergeant major that had the broke neck, had the spinal fuse surgery. Yeah, he shows up. I'll never forget that as long as I live. That was the craziest damn wrestling experience I've ever seen. And my first I was probably, 51, 52 years old. Yeah. And he actually balled up. Hey, he's about 5'9", and he balled up a 6'3" XO. Balled him up. Made that dude tap out.
Yeah, Oklahoma State's they're right up there as one of the top colleges in wrestling most of the time.
Yeah. Oklahoma State. So I don't know much about wrestling. So Oklahoma State, that's a pretty, if you're going to be a wrestler, that's a pretty good state to attend.
Yeah, they have the Oklahoma State College has one of the best coaches there is.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
And John Smith.
Yeah, Midwest.
Iowa was always up there. Penn State.
Hey, what's the name of that sport where you catch the ball and you flip it with a little stick?
Lacrosse?
Yeah, thank you. I know North Carolina has a really good lacrosse program. My stepdaughter was looking to try to get into lacrosse. Lacrosse out there in North Carolina as a scholarship, but that's a hard school to get into. Even on the lacrosse scholarship, it's pretty hard.
Chris, how close are you to Modern Day Indiana?
About Modern Day, we're about 2.5 hours.
That's one of the teams that's won this wrestling tournament in Wisconsin before.
Modern Day won the Indiana State Championship like 13 years in a row.
Yeah,
back a few years ago when I wrestled, they were the best team in the state.
Yeah, they were one of the teams that have won this tournament in Wisconsin before, and then Carmel, Indiana.
Yep, Carmel has a decent team. Yep. I actually wrestled a couple guys from Modern Day when I was in high school.
Jay, I look bloated because I had 18 eating competitions that I did in Florida this week.
Hey, I was going to ask you about that, man. Damn. You laugh. Hey, I remember one time, when I'm going back to my Wisconsin days. And again, right up the street from where I say right up the street. I lived on 4th Street. But if you go up the neighborhood, there's Johnsonville. Johnsonville. They make the brats. They make all these meats, right? And ESPN actually came to Sheboygan Johnsonville Bronx Center and had their hot dog eating contest there. And what was that? It's an Oriental guy that took this that took it there. Kobayashi, thank you. And I was front row, and I watched this guy put down these hot dog wieners. And my wife was to the right of me, and we're watching this hot dog eating contest. The dude puts down like 79 wieners, right? Just slams them down, right? And he gets the fucking thing. I look at my wife and I said, damn, babe, I think you can take that motherfucker.
Oh, man. Never know what you're going to hear on the afternoon blitz. No, I'll definitely.
But the reward that ESPN gave out to Kobayashi was, and this is what made me think about my whole career life choices, is they gave that man $5 million.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut's made what, $30 million just for eating.
Bro, I'm just saying, hey, what I'm trying to say is, Gonzo, listen, man.
you got a fast-ass metabolism. What I need you to do now, I'm going to be your trainer. And every single day, I want you to down a gallon of water and 2 loaves. No, we'll start off with a loaf. We'll work our way to 5 loaves. But every day for the next 2 weeks, I want you to down a gallon of water and a loaf of bread. And then every other week, we'll increase the bread intake and the water intake. We're going to stretch that stomach out, and we're going to get you $5 million damn dollars. I think you can do it. You can do it. By the way, I'll start a GoFundMe page. It says Gonzo Sports Room, Hot Dog Challenge, Stomach Stretch. Please donate.
No, I'll definitely check into that wrestling tournament, Dustin, because we're see the high school I wrestled at is no longer they closed it and they combined high schools here in Indiana. So I'm going to be doing it for Muncie Central, and my good buddy of mine coaches there, and he called me and said, "Hey, I got it approved through the athletic director. If you want to come stream our," I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." So I think it'll be pretty cool. I love amateur wrestling. Like I said, I wrestled since I was 6 years old. And I've traveled around the country with my son when he was wrestling. So it's wrestling's a fun sport. And I would love to go do more streaming because I think it's a sport that needs to get more out there. So I think if it got out there, more and more people would enjoy watching it. A lot of people don't understand it. And
well, I think a lot of the guys that develop that good sense of wrestling techniques or even jiu-jitsu techniques, I mean, that really is a pathway to being a MMA fighter. Because if you get that ground, if you have that good ground game, I think it makes it easier to be a good MMA fighter because then all you got to do is develop a little bit of an upper game and you're great. But that ground and pound or that ground game, that's where it's at.
Oh yeah. If they would have had weight classes back when I got out of high school, the UFC there wasn't no weight classes. If they'd had weight classes like they do now, I would have tried to fight like the 125 weight class back then. But
yeah. Because I'll tell you right now, man, hey, if I had to compare you in the world of cigarettes, I would call you a Virginia Ultra Slim.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Oh, that guy, that guy down there would be a Camel Crush, and I would just be your basic General Marlboro Red.
Chris is a Newport Hyundai.
All right.
Hey, if he's a Newport Honda, you're a Pall Mall non-filter. Oh, shit. That might be a segue, Gonzo. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, all right. We will see you guys Monday then because won't be no afternoon blitz tomorrow unless somebody – I'm going to put on there and see if anybody else wants to run it. But if somebody wants to run tomorrow, they're more than welcome to. If not, we'll see you guys on Monday. Like I said, I'll be live streaming stuff all weekend, so join us for that. Join us tonight for Unscripted, 7 p.m. Eastern. Me and the Stat Guy will be back Monday with Around the Bases, our baseball show, Monday morning at 9. So still got a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we will see you guys on Monday. Have a good day. Oh, don't forget, I'll be doing Easy Money, a sports betting show here in about 15, 20 minutes. It's going to be a big show today because since we're not going to be live tomorrow, we're going to give out our picks for college football on Saturday and our picks for college football or NFL Sunday. So come join us here in probably about 15, 20 minutes. Do you have something, Jay?
Yeah. Pearland.
All right. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.